Hello. My name is Gabby Swab, and this is my colleague and friend Ryan Bruns. And thank you
Hello.
for having and thank you for having us again at Towson University's Cooperative Strategy Game Leadership Building. Sorry, official name TU's Cooperative Leadership Strategy Games. Yes. um, we're so excited to be here helping you out again with this really fun group project. So during this introduction video, we will introduce ourselves and give you a little background on some co-op games to help you out. So we will get this kicked off with Mr. Ryan Bruns. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and your gaming experiences.
Hello, my name is Ryan, as Dr. Swab said. I've been in the gaming industry for a little over a decade or longer, and I have been with many different game companies in many different capacities, from helping to design and develop games to production to project management and selling to marketing and conventions. So I've been able to see how it's done in a lot of different various ways with other different companies. And yeah, I love having a job that involves a passion of mine and a hobby of mine. It's great.
Oh, all right. Like I said, I'm Gabby, or you can call me Dr. Swab, Professor Swab. I'm currently at Georgia Southern University. I was at Towson University previously, and I teach leadership, strategy, and entrepreneurship courses. And my time in the gaming industry probably also began about a decade ago, but not as a full-time employee necessarily. When I worked at Dell Computers, I had some friends that wanted to start a board game company. So I helped them start their company. We had some fully funded games on Kickstarter, and it was just kind of this like fun hobby I was doing just like on the side. And then when I went back to get my PhD, little did I know, I was like, oh, I've actually done some of this entrepreneurship stuff. So I started studying it more, researching it more, and then headed back into the game industry to start working with some of these business professionals, such as Ryan. That's how we met each other and became good friends and started, just doing fun work stuff together. And so, yeah, I just help out in the industry. I help run a association that looks at how academics and gamers can work together to promote experiential learning. So, yeah, that is our background. So, we have both taken a hobby, a major hobby for Ryan, and turned it into career choices, working directly in the industry like Ryan, and a little indirectly, but with fun for me. So thank you for having us again. So the first thing we wanted to talk about today is what makes a good cooperative game. So how is this different than a competitive game? So I'll kick us off with that question, and then Ryan will follow up. So my idea of a good cooperative game is full interdependence. So interdependence meaning that you cannot win by yourself. You have to rely on others to win. So think about a football team. You can have a great quarterback, but if you don't have anybody to catch the ball and run it down the field, you're not going to win. So just like a co-op game where everyone has to play their role. Yeah, there may be some kind of team leader, but no one can dominate the game, and every single person's individual input will matter in some regards. That's why some of these co-op games have different roles. In a game like Pandemic, whether it's like the scientist or the pilot, each person is supposed to have a specific skill or knowledge to help the whole team win. Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, for pretty much summed it up, but what it's allowing the players to, like you said, work together as a team and to problem solve, and that can be done in many different ways for them to do that. It's a way that they can, you're competing against the game, and you're using each other's different abilities and discussions, ways to be able to do this rather than competing against player to player. So it's a very popular type of game, and it can also not be so popular in the sense that we can talk about that a little bit more with some of the mechanisms that you can apply to it to make it successful, and what can work and what doesn't seem to work with that type of game. But it's definitely become a popular way of having people play, because some people don't like competing head to head, and it feels less threatening to be able to work with your fellow game players and try to accomplish a goal or beat the game.
Awesome, thank you. And I have a question more specifically for Ryan as a major game designer and working for tons, or has worked for tons of awesome companies and is right now. What do you think, or what are some action options for co-op games? So if some of these students are designing games, what do you think are actions they could consider, some of those mechanisms you were talking about?
So some actions to consider with that, when you're all working together, a common problem that does steer game players away from a game is having an alpha player. Basically someone at the table that's telling everyone what to do. You're gonna, when it's, say it's Dr. Swab's turn to play, and I'm telling her, you should go over here, you should make this kind of move. You really want to do and incorporate actions in your game that will prevent that from happening as much as you can. That's done in various different ways. There's one that is simultaneous actions, where there's a time racing mechanism in a game, and that allows all the players to go simultaneously. That is one way that you can get rid of an alpha player, because everybody's going at the same time. And there's still some discussion in that, but that's one way to avoid some of the alpha player parts. Or incorporating different variable player powers, so everybody else has a different key role, and it's their job to understand their role and how it applies to the game. So when it comes to their turn, they can do something specific like a power or an ability, something that will just that they know. If you strip away some of these things and just everyone has the same kind of thing to do on their turn, this can lead to someone being alpha player, because they basically know what everybody can do, and they'll start dictating that. So that's probably the biggest hazard with cooperative, is avoiding the alpha player telling what everyone has to do, because what you're trying to do is just incorporate everyone problem solving or doing something together. And if players have different powers or abilities, and you can incorporate each one of those together, like, oh, I need player X to do this, I need player Y to do this, you're involving them a little bit more, and and it involves everybody as well. So those that are kind of on the sidelines can be able to get involved with that. So
Awesome, thank you. So there was one more thing we wanted to talk to you about today before we jump off. You as students, me and Ryan is your helpers today, is what really makes a strategy game. So for me to give a little bit of background on that is, a lot of us grew up playing games, let's say Candyland, Monopoly, or some of these things. And where this realm of strategy games becomes a little bit different and more complex is that your decisions actually matter. So a lot of these games in this industry that Ryan's working in, or how you might have to think about designing this game, is that it's not necessarily a strategy if it's all luck based, if it's all about rolling the dice and the dice determines, what you do. Now, that's okay if that's a part of it, because even in life, we can make decisions, but there's still some chance in that. But a strategy game is where your decisions matter. So each thing you do as a team, each choice you make, each step that you move forward actually means something. So you should be able to reflect back on what you did or what you chose, or have different options of how to get there. Ryan, do you have anything to add to that?
yeah, just adding upon that, what you can do is have certain specific actions to each player. So you could say, let's say there could be 4 actions. One is move 2 spaces. The second action could be activating a space. The third action could be exchanging something with a player, right? If you have these types of options, then each player, and set up a parameter saying, on your turn, you can do 2 of these X amount of actions. So let's say you can do 2 of these 4 actions. So you can take the move action twice, or you can take the move action and something else, or you can take, it allows the players to make those choices. Roll and move, like you mentioned with Candyland or Monopoly, is a very dated mechanism. It's just purely luck based. It takes away the ability for players to make decisions. It's okay to have luck, like you said, and incorporate dice, but do it in a more constructive way. So if they're trying to figure something out, maybe roll a 6-sided dice to determine if they get a 1 to the 3 or 1 to 3, they fail, 4 to 6, they succeed. Things like that, adding that in, but take that away from movement or totally relying on the dice. Incorporate it in ways that they are still making decisions and there's still some luck base if you're going that route. Other times you can do puzzles or something that allow players to figure things out as well. And yeah, that's just one of several ways to incorporate that in the strategy game.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Well, that's all we have for you today. And we look forward to helping you out throughout the semester. Thank you.
Thank you.